Best places to live in Massachusetts. Part 1. I don't even know if there's going to be a part 2, but I talk a lot about the economy in Massachusetts, and I'm sure somebody's interested to move to Massachusetts for either a change of pace in life or they want to have the lifestyle up here. Because I was just about to Google like best place to live in Oregon, because I'm all about like trying out new places to live, and Oregon seems like a cool spot, so I want to do it about Massachusetts in case there's somebody in Oregon that wants to move out here. All right, let's go. For me personally, I like the suburbs. For me personally, you know what I mean? For what I like to do, I own a tree company, so if I had to move to any town in Massachusetts, I would move to Franklin, Massachusetts. The rate of work there in that area of Massachusetts is the highest for tree removal, and I'm sure it's the highest for gardening and grass and landscaping and a lot of other things. Not so sure on the real estate. I'm pretty sure the real estate's pretty expensive there. Probably one of the most expensive in the state if I had to guess. Yes, there is other expensive towns that are probably more expensive than Franklin to live in. But the thing I love about Franklin and all of the surrounding towns is that it's expensive to live there, right? But people aren't fucking snooty. Like, there's a lot of towns in Massachusetts, for example, Lexington or Newton, Massachusetts, or Needham, Massachusetts. There's a lot of towns, the list goes on. They're like super snooty, you know what I mean? Like, you can't talk to them because they're from fucking this town and this and that. You know what I mean? They're super judgmental. In Franklin, Massachusetts, I don't get that. I don't get that vibe that people are super judgmental and shit. They're like way more chill. Like, I don't even know how that works out, but in that area of Massachusetts, way more chill, way easier for myself or others to sell a job. You know what I mean? Because think about it. When I go to Franklin, Mass versus if I went to Lexington, Mass. In Lexington, these people are looking for fucking perfect. You know what I mean? They're looking for, oh, did you graduate from arborist school? Oh, did you do this school and that school? Versus Franklin, like, if you guys can do the job, like, we'll hire you. You know what I mean? Franklin's more of like a true American city, I would put it at. But it's not really a city. It's like it's a town. It's a suburb. It's how far away from Boston? I think 45 minutes away from Boston, more or less. So Franklin, Massachusetts is like the best place to move to if you're thinking about moving to Massachusetts, if you like the suburbs. If you like the city and you don't like driving and, you know, you want a city job or just live in a city for some reason, Boston's an awesome fucking city. I used to live there. That's what put me on to like making money in landscaping. I had a job landscaping right outside of Boston, in a part of Boston right near Newton, and what was it? It was Brighton. I was in Brighton. That's where I was. Brighton, and the T stop was called Cleveland Circle. Boston's cool because they do have a T. It's really good public transportation. Like, you can get anywhere using the T or using a bus. The T is really cool. If you live like along one of the lines, like you can take it right into the city. For mine, I was the last stop on the Green Line, Cleveland Circle, and I think it took me 30 or 40 minutes to get like downtown Boston. So if you're into that kind of thing, you like the city, you like Boston, like, yeah, Boston's a great city. Me personally, I don't really like living in Boston. I don't like city life. But I will tell you this, like, a normal job in Boston does pay more than a normal job like where I'm from. I'm not from Franklin, Massachusetts. I'm from like 20 minutes outside of Franklin, Massachusetts. I'm from North Attleboro, and a job in North Attleboro will pay probably like an average of $5, $7 less than a job in Boston, if that makes sense. But that doesn't always apply for like corporate jobs like Whole Foods and shit like that. I'm mainly talking like blue collar jobs, you know what I'm saying? Like people that work with their hands, like for example, like a demolition helper. Like somebody in North Attleboro might get $150 or $200 a day, But in Boston, they're definitely paying you $200 a day or $250 a day just to start. You know what I mean? Like, there's a major difference. There really is. As long as you're in the right point of Boston. Like, if any of y'all are looking to move to Boston and you want like the right suburb or the right, whatever the fuck you call it, the right city in Boston, because there's the boroughs. If you want the right borough to live in Boston, hit me up, because I can definitely put you in the right direction. If you're in a shitty borough of Boston, it's gonna suck. You know what I mean? Just like in Massachusetts, if you're in a shitty town, it's gonna suck. There's certain towns I don't even go to for tree removal, for example. This is how I base the market. It's like, some towns are very poor and they don't spend money, and, you know, most of the people are poor there. You know what I mean? That's why I suggest Franklin, Medfield, fucking Holliston. There's a lot of towns up that 495 that are awesome. Where I'm from, North Attleboro, it's like a middle class town. Franklin's a middle class town, but like more higher middle class, if that makes sense. North Attleboro, it's mainly like what you think of a generic middle class. Not as much money as Franklin, but still, it's nice. We border Rhode Island, so I'm only like 15 minutes away from Rhode Island growing up, or Providence rather. I do live in Rhode Island now. I live in Pawtucket. Not really by choice, it was just like a last minute thing. And, you know, I'm trying to get out of Pawtucket, to be honest. I don't like the city, like I said. And Massachusetts is just better to live in. Pawtucket is cheaper to live here, though. It's much cheaper. I have a 2-bedroom, and I pay $1,100 a month. The same place, 10 minutes down the road in Massachusetts. I'm literally 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. I'm 5 minutes away from the border of Massachusetts. So the same place in Massachusetts would probably be an extra $500 a month. Like, not even exaggerating. I paid $1,100 for a 2-bedroom in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, which is an option too, because the thing I really like about Pawtucket, if you can deal with living in Pawtucket, it's not that bad. It's just like citying, a little bit ghetto, but it's super cheap. Plus, you're right down the street from Massachusetts. Like, for example, a lot of my jobs come from Franklin, Massachusetts. That's why I really like Franklin. I can get to Franklin from Pawtucket in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So if you can deal with that little commute, it's not that bad. You know, like, definitely getting on your feet if you don't have that much money to put down on rent. Pawtucket's definitely a good place to live. But don't try to get a job in Rhode Island, because jobs in Rhode Island pay way fucking less than Massachusetts. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I've tried to figure it out, but it just is what it is. But Rhode Island jobs don't pay horrible at the same time, compared to like if you're coming from a state down south or something like that. But Massachusetts jobs do pay way more than Rhode Island, in my experience. So, like, for example, if you live in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, that town is a shit show of a town. There's other towns in Massachusetts, but that's in Rhode Island. That's one town I'll never do tree work in, because everybody's fucking poor there and pretty much cheap. Another towns in Massachusetts you want to stay the fuck away from: Fall River, New Bedford, fucking, oh shit, just had to come to a screeching halt of this stop sign because I'm doing a YouTube video. But the list goes on. So if you're interested in moving to Massachusetts, just hit me up on a comment. I'll kind of steer you in the right direction. You know, I don't know too much about Western Mass or north of Boston. North of Boston seems pretty cool, like towns like Peabody and stuff like that. It's a little bit closer to New Hampshire. You do have Cape Cod, which is an option if you like the beach style. I'm a beach guy, but not totally like that. You know what I mean? Like, Cape Cod is kind of overrated in my opinion, and you know, it's a different energy out there. So if you were to live in Massachusetts, I would either live on 95 or 495. I prefer towards 495s, towards Franklin area. As long as you're like 10 minutes away from 495, 10-15 minutes away from the highway, you'll be all set. You know what I mean? A town like Medfield, Mass, which I've mentioned before, is very, very nice town, but you are like 20 minutes away from 495, which makes traveling a little bit, you know, the commute is always there. Versus if you're in Franklin, you're right on 495. So it really is all about location and what you do, how much you need to drive, where you need to drive to. But overall, Franklin, Massachusetts is a great town to start in if you're moving to Massachusetts. If you like the city, move to Boston. Don't even fuck around. Do not move to Worcester. Worcester sucks. Horrible city. Like, I would never live there. It's super ghetto. I feel like there's a lot of crack cocaine there and a lot of drugs. I would stay the fuck clear from there. Every experience I've ever had in Worcester was a bad one. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, I mean, Rhode Island's great too, guys. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not as good as Massachusetts. But Massachusetts does cost a lot more to live there. An average of probably $500 extra on rent per month. Food and all that is the same. You know what I mean? Food, gas, it's pretty much all the same anywhere you go, in my experience. But with that, guys, like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you guys are moving to Massachusetts, definitely hit me up. And go follow my TikTok at Easy Money. It's 3 E's and 3 Y's on the word of money. So EEEASYMONEYYY. Go follow me on TikTok right now. Love you guys. Peace.